channel. It's Sunday. It's been a rough week. Not really a rough week, an interesting week, I think. I started thinking about all the things that I wanted to do in my workshop this year, in my studio. And the first thing I wanted to do was get it cleaned out. So before I start to show you some things that I found that I forgot that I had, I want to welcome you to my channel. I have a small online business called Goldenrod Primitives. My husband and I do some woodworking and some different. I do all the handiwork, and he does all the woodwork, and we put it together, and we have a successful business. It's not doesn't make a ton of money, but it's fun for us. We do this as a I guess what you would call it a go-to thing for us to be able to do later on after we retire. We don't know, because according to him, we're not retiring. So I don't know about that, but it's just kind of fun. And although it is kind of hard to work with your husband, if you ladies can understand that, he is very OCD about things. And I didn't know that whenever we got married 50 years ago. He didn't seem to be like that, but over the years, he's gotten to be a little bit more OCD about things, and very particular about certain things. And it's strange to me, because I think, who are you? I don't know who you are. Not saying it's not a good thing, because I'm kind of like, if you've noticed, I kind of ramble and go, to different things and say one thing and then I go to something else. So he kind of keeps me grounded, which is a good thing. Although I will say that when we're out in the workshop, and I'm going to show it to you in just a minute, because he's not in here, he's in there watching the race. I'm going to show you our workshop outside, and so when he's out there, it's almost like, oh my gosh, I need to get out of here, because he doesn't like people to watch him. You'll never see him on video, I can tell you that. And if I ever do put a video on here, you will not see his face. You will not see anything but his hands working on it. He will not do that. So that's a good thing, I think. And so the videos are mine. But anyway, I wanted to share some things with you, and one of them is about collections. Now, why am I talking to you about collections when I'm talking to you also about cleaning up my workshop and my sewing room? And it's because they were scattered everywhere. And my magazines, I collect magazines, and I looked online to see how many people really do collect things. And it's interesting to know that about 40% of the world collect things. Now, everybody collects different things. My grandmother collected buttons, and I don't know if that was just because she wanted to collect the buttons, or if she got a big jar and put them in there so she would always have them when she needed to mend something. I don't know, but that's kind of interesting to me. People collect thimbles, my spoons. Oh my gosh, if I showed you my mother's spoons, everywhere that we have ever gone as children and as grown-up adults, we would always say, oh, we got to get Granny a spoon before we go home. So she has tons of spoons, and she wants everybody to have some when she's gone. And that's interesting, because some people say, well, what am I going to do with them? And the other ones say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have them, because I want to put them up on the wall and they'll remind me of Granny. So that's kind of cool. That's really kind of cool. Now, I do collect my grandmother's recipes, and I think I've talked to you about that before. And that's kind of interesting. So I would like to know what you collect. But let's go back to one of the things that I collect, that I found in my stash here, and I want to show them to you. Now, going to stash. So if you are any kind of crafter, any kind of hand sewer, embroiderer, we all have stashes. Quilters, we all have stashes, and some more than others. So most of mine is wool, and only because you can't find very much wool here in Florida. So whenever I come around it, I have to get it. So that's basically what I put in my stash. All the rest of it, you can go down to, well, you can't go to Joann's anymore, but you can go down to a couple of quilt shops in town. I went yesterday, or the other day I went, and it's not really a quilt shop, but they do have some beautiful fabric in there, and I bought a piece of fabric to add to my children's stash because I've got a new great grandbaby, another one on the way, and I'm going to make some little bubbles, and I haven't made them in years since my kids were little, so I had to go over there and get a pattern and found some beautiful knit fabric. And back, here's a pattern called Jordan, and it's by Children's Corner Patterns, and it's that one. And then look at this beautiful fabric. I just think it's going to make such a pretty bubble. It's knit. And who is this by? Let me see. It is by Avalana Jersey by Stofa Fabrics. It's a Danish fabric. Oh, it's beautiful. I've never seen it before. I walked into this fabric store, and it's really not a fabric store. It's just mostly they sell sewing machines and embroidery machines, but they started hold a lot of carry a lot of children's fabrics because it's very hard to it's very difficult to find batiks and things like that. So that's basically what I went in for, and then I found this knit, and I just had to have it. So when I get it done, I'll share it with you. Okay, I regress. Okay, let's go back to magazines. All right, so I started pulling out magazines from everywhere. Now I'm not going to show. Well, in a minute I'll show you the rest of the room, and you'll see why I have to change things and why I have to work on it. But I have magazines over there. I had them in drawers. I had them. Now, if you can see in the background, I have all these magazines up here. And that was what I did one Saturday afternoon last week. I went in there and started, putting all my magazines together so that I would know what I have. And like I said, the reason that I started pulling it out was, number one, because they were just everywhere, and number two, I wanted to find something. I wanted to get some hints on a rug I wanted to do, or a wool applique of some kind. And I pulled out my Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine, and I said, well, I know I've got some more. So I started looking and my gosh, I have no idea how many I have, but I'm just going to share with you a couple from the winter collection. Now I've separated them from spring, summer, fall, and winter. And these are my winter magazines. All of these are the winter ones. And like I said, it's Primitive Quilts and Projects. Now I'm showing you this. I wanted to share with this because it's a collection that I have that I went through, and I found out how many I have and how many I don't have. Well, if you haven't been online in a while, or if it's been a while since you've really gone online to really look up something, I found out that Primitive Quilts and Projects is no longer available in print. You can get them online, and I immediately joined so that I could see what I'm missing with them. And I found out that you can't get any of the back issues. You can get them online, but you can't get the hand ones. So here I go. I go in and I start putting all of my magazines together, see what I'm missing, see what I have, and then I went on a quest to go find them. One of the things that it said when I was researching about collecting is, why do people collect? And it's because it's the thrill of the hunt. A lot of the time it's the thrill of the hunt. And this is where I am. I said, okay, I've got to go find these magazines. So where's the number one place you got to find used things? eBay. So I went on eBay and I found the ones that I need, but I'm going to have to be careful on how I do this because of the fact that most of them, the ones that I'm missing, are the ones that are unique, and they cost more than the original edition, plus the shipping and everything. So I'm going to have to really weigh my thoughts about, do I really want this? Now, when I talk about Primitive Quilts and Projects magazine, there are so many. I mean, I just picked this one up, and I mean, they have the patterns that you need. they give you all the different ideas and things that you would want to do. They give you examples of what primitive quilting is like. Now, let me tell you how I found out about these ladies. It's three sisters who put them together, and I can't remember, is it 20, about 15 years ago, 20? I don't remember. I'm not a very good person on doing my research to tell y'all. Let me see what the earliest one is. I've got 2013, 15, 18, 19, 17, and the winter of 2014. No, actually, the winter of 2013 is my first one that I have of winter. Now, going back to all of this, how did I find out about this? My daughter gave me my first edition. She gave it to me for my birthday. She said, "Mom, this looks like something that you might like." So she gave it to me for my birthday. And it was probably the winter edition. The winter edition was already out. And I don't know if this is the one she gave me, but that's how I started getting these. I fell in love with it. I subscribed to it. And there I go. The one thing that I did was I went to the Houston quilt market. The Houston International Quilt Show again in the early 20s. I went and I saw the three sisters there. They had a booth there, and they were talking about their magazine and everything, and I met them, and oh my gosh, I just fell in love with them. They are so nice, so very, very nice. So I don't know what has happened along the way and why they separated, or even if they did separate. I don't know. I don't know the story behind them. I do know that they do have a subscription that you can get online now, and they do put digital things together every season, and then they also have YouTube videos that you join when you subscribe. You get this YouTube invite, and then you go in and you see a lot of the people that they know, and they show their quilts and they show how they do things, and it is absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that I have gone back in to see what they're doing, and to see that the 2020 year did not do them in. Now, did it do them in? I don't think so, although I have a 2021 issue, but it's smaller. So I'm wondering, I think 2022 or 23 is their last paper. I should have done a little bit more research on it, but y'all can do that if you want to. But the quest that I have is I want to go get on my back issues. And I thought that it would be really fun to do that. Now, is this a collection that I can hand down to my kids? I doubt very seriously if this is a collection that they would want. So I'm not doing that for them. I'm doing this for me. I want to tell you how I feel about collections, and I'd like to know what you think, and how you do. What kind of collections you choose. Do you think it's worthwhile? Do you think it's a waste of money? People my age are beginning to downsize, and they say, "Oh, well, I want to get rid of that. My kids don't want it. I'm just going to get rid of it, and I'm not going to add to it." I mean, that's fine, but like old Mike says in all of his shows, well, I ain't done yet. I'm not going to use it. His motto is, if I'm not dead, I'm not done. And I relate to that because, I'm in my 70s, but I have so much more I want to do. And if I want to collect magazines, I'm going to collect magazines. Now, granted, I've had a lot of estates that I've had to clear out for my grandmother, my mom, and see what people go through and things like that. So that's another conversation down the road about how I want to get, how I choose to do what I want to with my collections. But right now, I'm going to enjoy them. And I hope a lot of you do the same thing. I just really think it's really cool. The next part of this short video, short is getting longer as I talk because I babble a lot, is I want to show you my area in my room. Now, no judgments here, okay? Okay, y'all, no judgments, because I know that it needs to be cleared. One of my other videos that I did, I sent it to my daughter, and she said, Mom, it was really good, but you need to fix your background. If you're going to do YouTube videos, you need to fix your background. And I said, oh, okay, well, I didn't think about that. I mean, I guess I did, but I thought, well, it looks used, you know. And she said, well, you don't want it to look used. So this is my backdrop that I use when I'm teaching online. So I do have to keep this kind of cleared out. So, and that's the reason I have my 2 degrees up there for my students so that they can see it. So that's part of it. So I'm going to look and see if I can start moving things around so you can see. Okay. So this is my wall behind my desk. Now I wanted to show you up here my ceiling. My ceiling, now you gotta know the reason my ceiling looks like that. And it's because my office or my workshop is in the barn. My husband, we built a barn after we built this house. After we bought this house, we built a barn. And so we did this. And so I wanted a sewing room, and he fixed me up a beautiful sewing room. But the thing is that it looked like a barn, and it still does up at the top. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. My sister-in-law suggested to put tulle over the top of it, but I haven't done it yet. So anyway, this is my pretty area. It's kind of like my looking area. Oh, and these are my 2 barn quilts that I did. I'm going to do some videos on barn quilts later, but that I just showed you that. So let's go around. I don't want to go too fast. All right, now this this is my area that I teach in. Okay, so I've got 3 monitors. Well, I've got two computers. I mean, I got a computer, and then I've got 1 monitor, and I've got 2 monitors, and everybody says, holy cow, you know, what are you doing? And it's because when you're teaching online, you've got to be able to see several things. So that's the reason that I have all of that. And also a stand-up desk. So if you work at home, you need a stand-up desk. My husband got this for me, and it is amazing. There's my keyboard down there. I've been teaching online for 17 years, and there was a time that I had gotten to where I had a really bad time with circulation, so I had to do some things. Well, I'll start here at the door, and my dog, she wants to go out. There she is. Hi, Maddie. You can't go out yet. All right, and then I have to show you this. My husband and I bought this home, and these were in my home, in my other home of my grandchildren at the ages that they were and as they were growing up. And that was the one thing out of all of the house that because we'd been in that house for 20 years, and I was more upset about losing those than I was anything else in that house. So Steve said, well, isn't there anything you can do? So I told him, I said, go get me 2 boards from the store. And I went in and I did these. And they're so cute. And okay, this picture came out of my grandmother's home. Now you notice I love antiques and I love to get things from family members. So that came out of my grandmother's home. I remember it hanging on the wall whenever I was little. I loved it. And there's my heater, and a lot of my wool that I dye. It's all in here. I guess you could say I have a stash of different kinds of yarns, but it's because there's my collection of yarns. It's because I sell it, and I also make rugs with it. Okay, and there's one of my rug hooking frames, and here's some of my patterns. This one I'm getting ready to put online. I love that one. Autumn's Magic. Here's another one, another autumn one. I hang them up here. And then this is where I keep all my patterns that I sell. And then this is just full of wool. But again, it's because that's what I do. I use wool. And so here's my table. Oh, I got to show you my table. My husband we went to the store. He gave it to me for my birthday. I think it was birthday. From Home Depot. Now, I can do this. and make it higher. Oh, I don't want to go too high because my machine is behind there. There's my Janome machine. I love it, love it, love it. And there's all my yarns and all my floss that I use. And this is my grandmother's china cabinet. Probably needs to be redone, but I don't want to. And there's a lot of wool in here. This is all the wool that I got when I went to that antique shop in Arkansas that I was telling you about. And then this is another work table that we got from, got this a long time ago when we first built the barn. This came from Harvard Freight. I love it. There's some more stash of wool. And that's full of different things. We moved my mother in last year. She is in her 90s and she needed to not be on her own anymore. That's a story in itself. It's very difficult, but I'm learning. It's me that has to learn. But I brought this outside. This has a lot of my things in here when I was working on my dissertation for my doctorate. And then here's my tripod. Let me get it out of the way. And some more stuff. Just stuff. My printer. And this. And I don't know. There you go. Basically, this is my shop. And there's the ceiling. So I gotta clean this up, and I'm working on it. So I got my magazines in order. Okay, so now let's go outside. So this part is my husband's area. This is Steve's area, and there's his boat. And now this over here, I use this where I do all of my painting and my designing. I've got some boards here. I've got it covered up right now for some more barn quilts that I've got to do that I'm going to put on my website. This was my grandfather's toolbox. So I've got all my paintbrushes and everything in there. This is Brandy gave me this. Oops, see if I can get it. Brandy gave me this. It's my wood burner. She taught me how to do that. Okay, and then here's our laser machine, our X tool. And then he's got some other things down there that he uses, and there's all of our stash. There's all our wood collection. So I keep going back collection. So then this is where he does all of his staining. I'm not allowed over there. And there's our sander. Here's his CNC machine. And then here's our 20-inch wool hangers that he is putting together. These are the 20-inch. We do 20-inch, 24-inch, 48-inch. That's what we've done so far. And then people can always order what they want, but that's what that is. Oh, and this is all his stuff. There's his tool. And then I'll just peek in here. This is his, see how much cleaner his area is. But this is our little workshop. And we, let me see if I can turn this around now. There we go. So this is our little workshop. And there's my grandmother's quilt that I showed in one of my other videos. And this is the reason I have it up here, because you can't hang it anymore because the weight of it just makes it too heavy. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. Let me turn this around and wave to you. I'm going to say goodbye. If you would, let me know what you like to collect. If you think collections, I don't know. Everybody has their own ideas about collections, and I'm sure there are people that say that's just, wasting money and they're catch-all and things like that. But my belief is, if it makes you feel good in this day and time, if something makes you feel special, then go for it. I just think that's the best thing, the best way to live. Life is too short. There's so many things that happen over in this world, and we just need to make ourselves feel like we are part of something. And I'm part of my collections. And there's my ceiling. See, I just hate that ceiling. Y'all give me an idea about what you think I should do with my ceilings. Okay, everybody, y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.